Hello, television family. We are back. Happy Monday, the 10th day of October, 2022. I am Dan Koontz. Quick heads up. It is a holiday. For a lot of folks, it is still, the federal government still calls it Columbus Day. I don't want to get into that. But heads up, no banks today, no mail delivery. A lot of governmental offices, if not all of them, are closed today. Got some dirty air, 134 here in the Winnetachie Valley as we get going, and that makes it unhealthy for sensitive groups. We got some good news and some bad news in regards to the air quality. We have a cold front's going to come in tonight, this afternoon really, mid to late afternoon, all overnight tonight, going to bring out some pretty strong winds, going to scour out the skies. That's the good news. The bad news, probably going to pick up the fire intensity a little bit. And then we have another big ridge of high pressure. It's going to come right back, rebuild up, and we could go right back to some pretty smoky and hazy skies come Wednesday. And Thursday can't seem to shake out of it. And the temperatures will be well above normal still. We've gone 18 consecutive days with our afternoon high temperature above normal. And not just above normal, we're talking way above normal, near record-breaking high temperatures. That's going to continue, even though it's a cold front that's coming in this afternoon and tonight. And it's not going to be that cold. Details are coming up. News, lots of it. Sports. Mariners. That's all I got to say. We're moving on. I love it. We'll have highlights, talk about a pretty good weekend for the Mariners. They're about the only local professional team or big-time team that had a good weekend. Seahawks lost, Huskies lost, Cougars lost. We'll get to all that. And coming up the back half of the program, we had a chance to sit down with Katie Batson, who works in HR, Human Resources at the Wenatchee School District. They're hurting for some warm bodies. They need paraeducators for special education. They need bus drivers. They need substitute teachers. They need warm bodies at the Wenatchee School District. And on Wednesday afternoon, they're going to have a hiring fair at the district office. And Katie Batson will give you those details when we get together in the back half of the program. Let's start our tour. Let's see what we can see. Probably not much. We're getting used to this. That's just, here we are again. It ain't too bad. 134, it's been worse. The worst day right now is 190. That's in Peshastin. They set up that portable unit in Peshastin last week. 160 in Cashmere, 153 in Leavenworth. So Peshastin, Cashmere, and Leavenworth, you are all unhealthy here in Wenatchee, unhealthy for sensitive groups. Again, going to see a little more blue sky come this time tomorrow. The sun's not even officially up yet. Sun doesn't come up till 7:12. But there is enough residual light that we can kind of see what's going on out there. Camera 2. Camera 2 is, I don't know, the Waterville camera? It looks like the opening credits to Dune. I'm going to say that's the Waterville camera. Looking towards, I think, Waterville, which must be out there somewhere. It's going to be very windy in Waterville. Waterville always has wind conditions. They're susceptible to it, and we're going to be breezy down here, but I think we can safely say it downright windy up in the Waterville area later on this afternoon and tonight. Camera 3. Let's take a look at, is that up the Lake Wenatchee area? Is that the Coles Corner camera, Captain? Bear Mountain? Oh, wait a minute, Blag. I bet you that's Blag. That's high atop Blag Mountain, looking, I think, probably due north. Blag Mountain is high above Peshastin, so you can't see the dirty air down there because that camera is about a mile above sea level, way above the smoke and the clouds. But down there is some pretty gooky air in camera 4. Or did we already do 4 cameras? Downtown Wenatchee, where we started from the roof of the Cascadian. Very light traffic. Of course, Monday is late start for school, or no school for that matter. And of course, no government offices. And a lot of people just don't work Mondays. Lucky those folks. So not a lot of traffic at this hour of the morning on the avenue in beautiful downtown Wenatchee, Chelan County, Washington State, United States of America. Did I mention it's going to be windy today as this cold front tracks through the area? It is going to be windy. Take a look at where you live. And that's your wind directions, which of course is almost directly west to east, and your windy conditions. Some of this sustained gusts could get up there near 40 miles an hour in many locations here in the Wenatchee Valley. Anywhere, we're talking gusts now, not sustained winds. Gusts 30 to 35 miles an hour, sustained winds around 20 miles an hour. It's going to pick up in intensity as the day progresses. It's going to stay that way in the overnight hours. Eventually, it'll die down overnight tonight. Very little wind in the forecast for the rest of the week. Again, it's going to scour out the skies. It's going to get our air nice and clean again. But then another high-pressure ridge comes in, and the fires are still burning. And with the stronger winds, they are predicting that smoke conditions will return, and the air quality conditions will go right back down again for the Wenatchee Valley and the Wenatchee River Basin, basically Lake Wenatchee to Dryden to Peshastin to Kashmir to Leavenworth and here. And there we go. It's going to happen again. Sorry. Probably it's going to get really bad some Wednesday night or Thursday. But once we get through this windy condition, air quality isn't going to be too bad. From the National Weather Service, 79. That's so unbelievably warm for this time of the year. Our normal high temperature is 65. We're not going to be anywhere near 65 throughout the forecast period. I already mentioned we've gone 18 consecutive days with the afternoon high temperature above normal. Well, we're going to go maybe 30 days, 30 consecutive days with the afternoon high temperature above normal. They're predicting that this next ridge of high pressure, which is going to start building up Tuesday night into Wednesday, is going to be just as strong and just as well entrenched as the one that's going to be exiting today. Can't seem to bust out of it. We had 77 on Saturday. We had 77 on Sunday. We're near record high temperatures by the middle of the week. Crazy, crazy weather. Last time we had the afternoon high temperature at normal was September 21st, and it's October 10th. It's been a long, long time. Windy today, windy tonight. We calm down on Tuesday. We start seeing some smoke rebuilding on Wednesday, and we're right back to smoky skies for a good part of the rest of the work week starting on Thursday. I, for one, am tired of it, but there's nothing we can do about it either. 7 minutes after the hour, a 1 minute break, and then your Monday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I've been in law enforcement for over 36 years, and I've seen a lot of politicians talk about police. But Kim Schreier is different. She listens to us, and she delivers. It's Kim who got more money for law enforcement to fund the equipment that we need, like new bulletproof vests, and more funding for mental health resources for an integrated approach to serve our community.
We need to increase funding to police, and that's exactly what I've done in Congress.
Kim has our back, and she has my support.
I'm Kim Schreier, and I approve this message.
Badger Mountain Brewery is your cure for boredom. Jam Night Mondays. Trivia Wednesdays. Live Music Fridays. And Sunday Brunch. There's always something brewing at Badger Mountain, so come join the party.
It is hazy, it is smoky, it is 50 degrees. Get ready for some wind late this morning, all afternoon, into the evening hours. It dies down early Tuesday morning. It is going to clean out the skies, but it'll probably increase the fire activity. And the fires up at Lake Wenatchee, we're looking at going right back to some pretty dirty air by Wednesday afternoon and certainly by Thursday. It's 9 minutes after the hour. A man's body was pulled from the Columbia River near Rocky Reach Dam, Rock Island Dam, I should say, near Rock Island Dam on the Columbia River. This happened on Saturday. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office said after receiving a report of the body in the water, detectives were dispatched to recover the deceased man. The body has been turned over to the Chelan County coroner to determine the cause of death and the man's identity. The Sheriff's Office said there were no signs of foul play. A state auditor has made some suggestions on how to improve local investigations into police-involved shootings. When a Douglas County Sheriff's deputy shot and killed 29-year-old Thomas Mathis III in a Rock Island home back in April of 2020, the Multi-Agency Special Investigations Unit looked into the incident. That officer cleared of wrongdoing, but the state auditor's office says the SIU should have issued weekly press releases while its investigation was ongoing. That's what state administrative codes require. Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett and Under Sheriff Jason Matthews told Chelan County Commissioners last week that they ceased regular press releases at the request of local media.
So you're required, I wondered the same thing when I get those media releases. You're required to say
no new information.
nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Because every time I open those, I think, Well, what a waste of time.
And that's almost the public says that as well. And I don't know, maybe we need to put a clause in there per this is required per that.
Yeah, I had no idea.
But it
required.
is. It's frustrating for our side as well. And I think that the public can go on that. You want to be able to feed them the information when they're truly.
That might be helpful per whack, whatever, that we're required to send this media release, even in light of no new information, however.
What I want to say about this group is this was daunting. This is, for months, this has been fairly consuming and what the undersheriff has been doing, and specifically for Captain Chance from Wenatchee PD as well.
The Washington State Debate Coalition, they say they're pretty darn frustrated about the upcoming debates. They had to cancel one of the planned debates, and another planned debate is on the brink of getting canceled. The coalition said an October 18th debate between Secretary of State Steve Hobbs and his challenger Julie Anderson has been canceled because Hobbs said he wouldn't be available. Hobbs is a Democrat. He was appointed to the post by Governor Jay Inslee after Republican Secretary of State Kim Wyman took a job with the Biden administration. The coalition said it's been trying to get Hobbs to commit to the debate since last spring. In addition, a Seattle debate between U.S. Senator Patty Murray and her challenger, Republican Tiffany Smiley, is likely to be canceled after Murray did not respond to a deadline of October 5th to commit to the event. An October 23rd debate in Spokane between the two remains on schedule, however. Also on schedule, an October 28th debate in Ellensburg between 8th District Congresswoman Kim Schreier and her Republican challenger Matt Larkin. That's the only scheduled debate between those two. Two Wenatchee Valley men are accused of breaking into an East Wenatchee home a couple of weeks ago and injuring 4 people with pepper spray. 32-year-old Curtis Robert Ix of Wenatchee and 35-year-old Zane Russell Grissom of East Wenatchee. They're being held in Chelan County Jail on burglary, assault, and related charges. East Wenatchee police said the two men barged into a house in the 1800 block of North Aurora just after 3 in the morning and sprayed all 4 victims in the face. One of the men allegedly stole a cell phone during the incident. Police say the alleged assault appeared to be a domestic violence incident targeting Grissom's former partner. Douglas County prosecutors have charged him with felony harassment in addition to the other criminal counts. Local unemployment rate ticked up a little bit in August compared to July of this year. That's the latest from the State Employment Security Department's report. The Wenatchee Valley's unemployment rate, 4.4% in August. It was 3.1% in July. However, the 4.4% mark in August was still 0.6 of a percentage point lower than in August of 2021. Non-farm employment increased by 2.1% in August, from 47,400 jobs last August to 48,400 in the August that just came and went. The planned closure this week of the highway off-ramp near the new Chelan County PUD building has been delayed a week. The Highway 285 Old Station exit will now be closed on October 17th to the 28th as work continues on roadway changes being made to accommodate the new PUD headquarters and service center. The building is expected to open next year with major changes in the works for Penny Road and Easy Street. And in a video released this last week by the city of Wenatchee, Wenatchee Police Chief Steve Crown said traffic fatalities in the state took an alarmingly big jump in 2021. Most of those fatalities involved impaired driving, speeding, failing to use a seatbelt, and distracted driving.
Your communities have seen it in the headlines, and you've seen it in your work. Traffic fatalities in Washington and across the U.S. have been going up. At a glance, it may not seem like it, but the last 2 years are a clear reminder of how important the work of law enforcement, and specifically traffic enforcement, is in saving lives. As you know, in 2020, we intentionally reduced our levels of traffic enforcement with the aim of minimizing person-to-person contact to protect both officers and citizens from the spread of COVID-19. Even in the law enforcement community, where we understand the value of traffic enforcement, I don't know that anyone could have anticipated how rapidly and to what level we'd see a responding increase in high-risk driving behaviors. Those high-risk behaviors resulted in more serious crashes in our state. In 2019, there were 538 traffic fatalities in Washington. In 2020, fatalities increased to 574. and in 2021 to 661. That's one of the largest year-to-year increases in traffic fatalities in our state and the most fatalities on record in the past 2 decades. Our challenge as law enforcement is to intervene in the behaviors of a small portion of drivers who engage in risky driving. We can acknowledge the loss of so many in our communities killed in traffic crashes and recognize without the work of officers committed to traffic enforcement, that number would undoubtedly be higher. And that's why I'm hopeful. We know that traffic enforcement, when focused on the top crash factors, reduces serious crashes. Every time you arrest an impaired driver or take action to address other high-risk driving behavior, you are changing and saving lives in your communities.
Yeah, that's what's making news on this Monday, the 10th day of the 10th month, and we will have a newscast for you. We don't get the day off. We're working. But it's Monday. We're not going to work real hard. We'll have a newscast for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Also available to you to watch on our Facebook page and on our homepage if you so desire, if that's how you consume your television news. And with the preview of the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good Monday morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we'll have the latest on whether salmon fishing will be allowed on the Chelan River. More haze today, windy and warm. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And coming up in sports, Eric Granstrom has a wrap on the weekend area high school sports action, as well as an update on the Mariners Blue Jays playoff series and a look at yesterday's Seahawks Saints game. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. And if you have a news tip, or if you just want to comment on how great this show is, email me. It's news@ncwlife.com. You can go to our Facebook page and use the Messenger app, or you can go to our homepage, ncwlife.com. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's 17 minutes after the hour. The Mariners will play a home playoff game for the first time in 21 years. But we got to go to Houston first. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Anchi Valley in the NCW Life channel.
Highlander Grill and Golf Course is known as one of the finest wedding venues in the Wenatchee area. You do not have to be a member to come to Highlander. Highlander Golf Course offers a first-class backdrop for your wedding day. Our friendly professional staff will ensure your wedding and reception is picture perfect, from every moment leading up to the I do's to when the lights go down at the end of your reception. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks. So bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
19 minutes after the hour. Pretty fun weekend for you Mariner fans. They move on to the American League Divisional Series. 2 very exciting games of the weekend on Friday and Saturday. Of course, they had the 4-0 shutout on Friday night. Louis Castillo just shut down the Blue Jays. And then, well, you must have been watching on Saturday as the Mariners pull off one of the biggest comebacks in postseason history. They were down 8-1. They came all the way back to beat the Blue Jays 10-9.
But you're right. It's not easy to make these calls. Raleigh into left center field. That's going to be another hit for Cal Raleigh. Suarez around third. Tapia cuts it off. That'll hold the catcher to a single. But the Mariners on the board again.
Romano taking some time. Here we go. The stretch by Romano and the pitch on the way to Crawford. Swing and a fly ball into shallow center field. Bichette going out. Springer coming in. Springer dives, can't get to it. Gets out by everybody. 1 run scores Raleigh. Henniger will score. Here comes Frazier rounding third. Frazier will score. This ball game is tied at 9-9. Bichette and Springer collide. Crawford in at second with a bases clearing 3-run double. But right now, Bichette is down. Springer is down. 2 Blue Jays are hurt. A double by J.P. Crawford. And the Mariners have tied the game. What a comeback at 9-9 here in the top of the 8th inning. One more right here. Cal the lead. Here's the pitch. The way swinging a line drive into right field. Down the line and toward the corner. A base hit. Cal being waved around third. He'll score. Frazier in at second with a 2-out RBI double. Claps his hands. And the Mariners, for the first time in the ball game, have a 10-9 miraculous lead here in the top of the 9th inning. Holy smokes. Adam Frazier comes through in the clutch. Here's the stretch. And the Kirby 0-2 pitch to Tappy on the way. Swinging a fly ball center field. Coming in Julio. He makes the catch and the ball game is over. The Mariners win the wild card series. They're going to Houston to take on the Astros in one of the most incredible, miraculous finishes and comebacks we have ever seen. The Mariners celebrate with a 2-game sweep over the Blue Jays here in Toronto. The Mariners win it. A final score of 10-9. The guys doing their happy dance. And guess what? Not only are the Mariners taking this series to Houston, that series will take the series back to you fans in Seattle. And the Mariner players are hopping up and down out at second base, having a great time in one of the greatest comebacks, in one of the greatest games we have ever seen. A real classic here in Toronto. The Mariners win it by a score of 10-9.
Only the third time in Major League postseason history that a team came back from that down, 7 runs down, to win the game. Afterwards, manager Scott Service said, well, he's getting used to being doused with champagne.
It's tough to come back. It's tough to come back in the playoffs against that team in this building. We were up against it, but credit to our players. We don't quit. We haven't quit all year. There's a certain resolve that our group has. They just believe in each other. And we talked about it coming into this series, that we were going to have difficult moments. We knew that. That's what happens when you play on the road in big games. And we were up against it tonight, but great games by a lot of our guys. I think the biggest thing for me is that we didn't try to do too much. We just try to keep the line moving, is a common phrase we use around our club. And when you do that, you just focus on doing the little things. How do I get on base? How do I get a hit? And all of a sudden, we caught a break when JP, hit the soft liner, the bloop into center. 3-run score, you look up, we had tied the game. And, luckily we had an inning out of Munoz to go, and then we had a young stud at the back of it, George Kirby, who'd never pitched out of the bullpen before. But I figured he would step up, the adrenaline would be going, and he did a great job. So, heck of a win, and really happy to have the opportunity to bring a playoff game back home to Seattle. It has been a long time, and our fan base is certainly deserving of it.
So here's your schedule. It's the best of 5 American League Division Series. It starts tomorrow at 12:37, first pitch in Houston. It'll be on TBS. Game 2, Thursday, 12:37. Game 3 is Saturday at T-Mobile Park. We don't know what time yet. Game 4, if necessary, would also be in Seattle on Sunday. And Game 5, if necessary, back in Houston on Monday. So it was a great Saturday for you Mariner fans, for you local college football fans. Not such a great Saturday. Arizona State backup quarterback Trenton Bourget threw for 3 touchdown passes, led the Sun Devils over the Huskies, 45-38. Washington State could not overcome penalties or a balanced attack for number 6 Southern Cal. They lost 30-14. The Trojans' Caleb Williams threw for a couple of scores. Travis Dye rushed for another. USC is 6-0. The Cougars fall to 4-2. Weber State put up 460 yards of offense to remain unbeaten. They beat Eastern 45-21. The Eagles dropped to 0-2 in Big Sky Conference play. And Western Oregon scored an 11-yard touchdown pass with 9 seconds left to beat Central in Ellensburg 16-14. On Sunday in Nolens, the Seahawks and the Saints exchanged the lead 4 times before the Saints took the lead for good with 5:22 remaining. The final 39-32. Taysom Hill's 3rd touchdown run of the day, a 60-yarder, was the backbreaker for Seattle. Their defense can't stop the running game.
This game hurts all of us because we know that we had a chance to win a football game. I never take anything away from the Saints. They did a great job and did a lot of cool things in this game to win it. But we had our chances, and we had all kinds of opportunities to get this done. And there was too many things that went wrong that just gave them another opportunity here and there, and we made it too easy on them. It's really, these games are so hard and they're so difficult to win, and if you screw it up and you give them something, then you're fighting against it the whole time.
Geno Smith threw for 268 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, the third, scored on a 69-yard touchdown run, and Rashad Penny went down. Pete Carroll says the ankle injury is, quote, serious. Seattle's back home Sunday to host Arizona 105 on Fox. San Francisco, the 49ers took over first place in the conference. They beat Carolina 37-15. Philadelphia's Cameron Dicker hit a 23-yard field goal with under 2 minutes remaining. Eagles beat Arizona 20-17. And Tony Pollard had a 57-yard touchdown run. Brett Maher connected on 3 field goals. Dallas beats the Rams 22-10. Going back to Friday, in case you missed it, Eastmont ran all over West Valley 35-27. It was homecoming for the Rams. It wasn't a good night for them. Good night for the Wildcats, though. Gunnar Peterson leading the way with 28 carries, 275 yards, and a touchdown. Colby King scored twice, finished with 133 yards. Austin Ruffins also found the end zone twice. Another Big Nine play, Wenatchee won their second game of the season. They beat Ellensburg 37-19. Moses Lake remains on top of the Big Nine standings. They beat Davis 42-8, and Sunnyside knocked off Ike, as you see there. Cashmere won the 29th edition of the Pear Bowl. Homecoming for the Bulldogs. The final on Friday night, 35-20. Trent Mason threw 2 touchdown passes for Cashmere. Jack Croce scored a couple of rushing touchdowns on the night, and Braden Parton threw for a couple of touchdowns for the Kodiaks, who lost for the first time this year. Another CTL play, Omak beat Quincy. They're 2-0 in league play, and Chelan won a non-league affair at Colfax. Central Washington B League play. Waterville-Mansfield beat Touchette 64-10. Okanagan remained unbeaten. They beat everybody, including Tenasket. Brewster beat up Orville, Lake Roosevelt, edged Manson. In Central Washington Athletic Conference football, Alfredo over Sela. East Valley shut out Grandview. Othello topped Prosser to take the top spot in the league, by the way, 28-17. Let's move forward to soccer scores, shall we? Wenatchee made it a season, that's the Central Washington Athletic Conference scoreboard we just did, to the girls soccer on Saturday. Wenatchee swept their season series with Eastmont. They beat the Wildcats 3-0 in Quincy because of the smoke. Ike edged Moses Lake. Othello blanked Ephrata. Keona Benton topped Quincy. Ellensburg and Cascade played to a 0-0 tie. St. George's blasted Brewster. On the Les Schwab Prep volleyball scoreboard Saturday, Chelan blanked Manson. Clay Elm swept Cascade. Waterville Mansfield beat Riverside Christian. We're going to be at Eastmont, by the way, tomorrow for live coverage. Big Nine volleyball. The Wildcats host the Moses Lake Mavericks. Eric with the call. Courtside action at 7 o'clock. And then on Friday, we'll help Wenatchee celebrate homecoming with the Davis Pirates in town at Leibofta Field of the Apple Bowl. Grant Olson and Eric will start the festivities. Pregame at 6:30 right here on your local TV station. And the Wenatchee Wild went 1-1 over the weekend north of the border. Trail scored 4 goals in the third period to beat Wenatchee on Friday at 7-5. But the Wild bounced back on Saturday for their first win of the season. They beat Cranbrook 3-1. Ian Somoza, Michael Valdez, and Kate Littler scored the goals. Andy Valaha was great behind the goal. Wenatchee is at West Kelowna this Friday, and then the BCHL Showcase next week in Chilliwack. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this 10th day of October. It is the second Monday in October, so before we get to the obscure holiday, let's get this Columbus Day stuff out of the way. It's still officially called Columbus Day by the federal government. But here in this state, it is known as Indigenous Peoples Day. In Washington State, also in Alaska, California, Minnesota, Hawaii, Vermont, New Mexico, and Maine. In Oregon, it's actually a holiday. It's a state holiday. There's nothing going on in Oregon today. In South Dakota, it is Native Americans Day. Thought we'd get that out of the way. It's also Thanksgiving Day in Canada. So for you Canadians to the north of us, happy Thanksgiving Day to you. If you want to, you can celebrate National Angel Food Cake Day today. You can celebrate National Cake Decorating Day, National Handbag Day, National Online Banking Day, National Kick Butt Day. But no, we're going to hug a drummer today. National Hug a Drummer Day today. Drummers never get the respect they deserve. They're always whatever the least appreciated member of the band, which is, quite frankly, nonsense. Drummers are awesome. Of course, drumming is the oldest musical activity that there is. It all began with drumming, and it went from there. So that's why you got to have a good drummer, keeping the backbeat. If you're going to have a good band, it's not just rock and roll, of course. The modern drum set, as we see it today, was basically invented in the late 20s and early 30s. That's pretty much the staple of drum sets. Of course, drummers need to have excellent hand-eye coordination. That's a must. You have to be able to do 4 different things at 4 different times with your legs and your arms. Of course, you have to have a decent sense of rhythm. And by the way, if you play air drums at the job, you lower your stress level. So Hug a Drummer Day today. All of my favorite drummers in all of rock and roll, with the exception of Ringo Starr, they're all gone now. I can't hug them. Oh well. 30 minutes after the hour. Today in history, happy birthday to the Naval Academy. The United States Naval Academy was founded in Annapolis, Maryland, 177 years ago today. October 10th, 1845. 50 enrollees in the very first Naval Academy class. This is a tough school to get into, folks. Only 9% of applicants are accepted, but if you make it into the Naval Academy, it has a 90% graduation rate, which is pretty good. The lowest ranking graduate of each Naval Academy class each May is known as the anchor, and the anchor gets $1 from all the other graduating classmates. So there's some sort of impetus or to be finished last, because at least you get about $1,000. The largest dormitory in the world is Bancroft Hall. It's the hall where every person who goes to the Naval Academy lives. It's huge. It has 5 miles of hallways alone. That's how big Bancroft Hall is. The reason that the U.S. Navy Academy uses a goat as their mascot is because goats used to go on sailing expeditions, because goats were a source of, well, dairy products, and they could swim, which was important if you're going to be on a ship and sea for a long time. During the Allied occupation of Berlin after World War II, a bunch of Navy veterans got the Soviets drunk, and then they stole the Nazi flag, the big swastika that was a backdrop of all of Hitler's speeches, and that swastika's flag now hangs at the Naval Academy, believe it or not. And Jimmy Carter, the only president to have graduated from the Naval Academy. Happy birthday to that. This is the 89th anniversary of the very first proven case of a plane being brought down by sabotage. It was the United Airlines Boeing 247, October 10th, 1933. This was a long time ago. It was flying from Cleveland to Chicago. Something in the baggage department in the rear of the plane exploded. It separated the tail section from the rest of the airplane. It crashed near Chesterton, Indiana. They examined it. The FBI did. What was then the FAA. The 4 passengers and the 3 crew members were exonerated. It has never been solved, and nobody knows why, but somebody planted an explosive device on this airplane. First time it ever happened. And Alice Schreibner became the very first flight attendant to die in an airplane crash. Somebody blew up the plane. Nobody knows why. It was never solved. Say goodbye to my favorite vice president. Spiro T. Agnew resigns October 10th, 1973. He was charged with evasion of his federal income tax. He did a lot more than that. When he was the county executive of Baltimore and then the governor of Maryland and then the vice president of the United States, he took kickbacks from engineering firms and construction firms. Even after he became vice president, he said, I still want my dough. Here's a special report from CBS.
This is a CBS News special report. The vice president resigns. Here is correspondent Walter Cronkite.
Good evening. Vice President Agnew, burying himself as a tax cheat, resigned today under an agreement which protects him from prosecution on charges of grafting. And a federal prosecutor brought in from Chicago especially to deal with the Agnew case said, I have never seen a stronger case of bribery or extortion. A Justice Department statement submitted to federal court in Baltimore as Agnew pleaded no contest to evading taxes in 1967 detailed in 40 pages evidence of, quote, a pattern of substantial cash payments to Agnew. They began, it is alleged, in Agnew's first political post, chief executive of Baltimore County, and continued through his tenure as governor of Maryland and his first term as vice president. For the tax evasion, Agnew was fined $10,000 and put on probation for 3 years. The resignation, only the second by a vice president in the nation's history, and the first was under very different circumstances, presents a new problem for President Nixon, himself not yet out of the cloud of Watergate.
As he left the court, the former vice president was publicly still maintaining innocence of any criminal activity.
He said he acted as he did for personal reasons and for the national interest.
Gentlemen, I believe you've all received copies of the prepared statement that I read to the court in open court. As I said in that statement, the reason that I have changed my decision to fight this matter is because that I believe it would be against the national interest, have a brutalizing effect on my family to go through a long 2-year struggle concerning this matter. You also may be aware of what I said in open court, that I categorically and flatly deny the assertions that have been made by the prosecutors with regard to their contentions of bribery and extortion on my part.
Yes, I did it, but I didn't do it. And finally, 42 years ago today, October 10th, 1980, the funeral was held for John Bonham, the drummer of Led Zeppelin. There's John Prine, who is also no longer with us. John Bonham's funeral was held on this date 42 years ago today. In case those of you who don't remember, John Bonham at Jimmy Page's apartment drank 40 shots of vodka, passed out, and then choked to death on his own vomit. 40 shots of vodka. Let's move on to birthdays. John Prine. We lost John Prine, of course, a couple of years ago at the age of 73. One of the great songwriters around. We love John Prine. We miss John Prine. He actually co-wrote the 1974 hit, You Never Even Called Me By My Name. He co-wrote it with his good friend Steve Goodman. It was a huge hit for David Allan Coe. It was Steve Goodman and John Prine co-wrote the song together, but John Prine said, I can't take songwriting credit. I was too drunk when we wrote it, so I can't remember what it was I contributed to that song. But when Steve Goodman, who got solo writing credit, even though he wrote it with John Prine, when Steve Goodman began to get the royalty checks, he bought John Prine a jukebox. Not bad. We miss John Prine. Born this day in 1946. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. What's it like to be retired at the age of 48? They call him the Pied Piper of Daytona, and he won the annual poll for the most popular driver in NASCAR for 14 consecutive years. They liked him. He's 48 years old today. 37 minutes after the hour, going to take a break. Got an opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and then my conversation with Katie Batson, who's the HR director, or one of the HR people, I should say, at the Wenatchee School District. They're having a hiring event on Wednesday at the school district headquarters on Sunset Avenue. Looking for a job, part-time or full-time? They want to hear from you. Katie will give you those details when we come back. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Funny thing about time, when you're young, summers seem to last forever. And then, before you know it, you're attending more retirement parties than you are baby showers. This is when you'll appreciate our own homegrown, nonprofit, Heritage Heights, working to provide every senior housing option our families might need, right here in the beautiful Lake Chelan Valley. Find out more at heritageheights.org.
Scare Crazy in Cashmere. It's a spooktacular good time all month long in Cashmere. Scarecrows will be waiting for you throughout the town. Silly ones, spooky ones, and everything in between. Yeah, it's Scare Crazy in Cashmere. Bring the family and find the scarecrows all around Cashmere. And be sure to thank these fine sponsors. Weeds Cafe. Breakfast, lunch, lattes open 7 days a week.
Cashmere Veterinary Clinic is natural pet care in everything they do.
When I was about 16, I got in a relationship. He hit me for the first time in front of his daughter. He physically abused me in front of my children. I couldn't do it no more. Sage was there for me when I needed them. I didn't hear a lecture from them. I didn't hear anything, but just acceptance. And that's what I needed at the time. And they help you with everything that you need to move on in life and heal.
Are you caught in a conflict with a family member, in the workplace, or with a neighbor or business? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on topics like conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us at 509-888-0957 or www.wvdrc.org to learn more.
this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Renaissance artist Michelangelo. Now, come on, that man, he was an incredible genius, and his sculptures are nothing short of miraculous. Good grief. Thinking of him often makes me wonder, where are the similar geniuses of today? I don't have to admit, among others, I think Pete Townsend of The Who is one. Really. I mean, despite his drinking, drugging, and libertine lifestyle, which actually, frankly, puts him in the company of other artistic geniuses, his creation of the rock opera Tommy, as well as many of his other works, puts him right up there. Now, Alan Turing, the father of the theoretical science that broke the Nazi naval Enigma code, is certainly another. And another one of my favorites, a comic genius, Steve Harvey of Family Feud. Oh, come on, that guy is incredible. Tell me I'm wrong. Well, maybe not as genius as Michelangelo, but genius in a different way. Steve Harvey. Gotcha, dude. Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
It's the NCW Life Community Calendar, brought to you by Cling Connection. The series of seasonal nature walks hosted by the Wenatchee River Institute continues this month with Autumn Ambles. It's a leisurely 2-hour walk through Waterfront Park in Leavenworth as experts explain the natural and cultural history of the area. Plus, you can see the golden leaves of fall and the spawning salmon. The next 2 Autumn Ambles are on October 14th and on October 20th. Go to WenatcheeRiverInstitute.org for more details.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine in style at Highlander Bar and Grill, located in East Wenatchee. Highlander Golf Course has added 2 state-of-the-art full-swing simulators. Food and drink service is available from our full-service bar and grill, offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Indoor and outdoor seating available. Call Shalane, our on-site coordinator, to schedule your special event.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. This Wednesday, literally, this is where you want to be if you're looking for a full-time job, a part-time job, or just a little extra cash to help you through the holiday season, because the Wenatchee School District is having a hiring event, a fair, if you will. And to talk about that and some of the jobs that are opening and how you go about doing it, and it ain't that hard, is Katie Batson, who is with the HR department here at the Wenatchee School District. Hello, Katie.
Hi, Dan.
So every year, school districts have a difficult time filling certain positions. Teachers, usually they retire out, new teachers. That's usually not an issue. Administration, support staff, stuff like this. But there's always a turnover in certain departments. Custodial, food services, paraeducators, bus drivers especially. And yet this year, Katie, it's really acute. It's become an issue.
Yeah, we've really ran into an issue of not having enough classified staff to support the students' current needs. We've had a need for a number of paraeducators, including a lot of paraeducators working with our special education program. We need food service people to work in our kitchens and various buildings. We are always looking for bus drivers and substitutes for every position here at the district.
Why is it so acute this school year? How can you account for all of a sudden we really have a problem, as opposed to it's a little problem that we have to deal with every year, and now it's a big problem you got to deal with? What happened?
Well, we weren't able to fill all of our positions at the end of the year last year, so we still had open positions. And then we've had changes in student needs that have created a need to bring on several more paraeducators to work with the special education program. And with retirements, resignations, we've just hit that point where we need to bring on more staff.
And you've had more kids with developmental disabilities enter the school district this school year than you've ever had before. That's where the need for special education paraeducators have really come in.
Yeah, there has been an increased need this school year.
And the ratio of and correct me if I'm wrong, Katie, but the ratio of special education paraeducators to the students themselves is very low. It's almost one-on-one in many cases, correct?
There are some one-on-ones. There are some work with small groups. Yeah, it varies based on the needs of the students.
And thus you need more paraeducators.
We always need more paraeducators.
Would you say that's the most acute problem, is the paraeducator?
Right now, it is, yes.
So how many, I don't want to put you on the spot, but how many do you need?
We need 14 to 16 paraeducators, roughly, to work with our special education program, another 8 general ed paraeducators. Yeah.
So how do they go about doing it then? We'll concentrate first on the special education paraeducators. It's not a very high bar to cross to get that job, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right. So for all paraeducator positions, we just need people to come in, put in an application. There's a requirement to either have passed the paraeducator assessment test or have an AA degree or have 72 college credit hours.
So it's not that hard. All things considered.
No, the paraeducator assessment test is offered on a regular basis. We have resources to help people study for that and how to direct them to where they need to go to get signed up to take that test.
And I suppose the number one skill set for paraeducators is giving a damn. If you have that in your internal makeup, you're probably 3/4 of the way there, right there, right?
Yeah, we like to work with students. I hear from paraeducators all the time how rewarding it is with some of the students that they work with, and then being able to help out and contribute. It can be a very rewarding job, and it's a part-time in the grand scheme of things for anybody that wants to work, but also wants to have their summer vacations and their holidays off with their kids.
We should mention this before we go any further for this big hiring event. It's from 4:30 to 7 here at the district office on Sunset Avenue here in Wenatchee. Do you encourage people to go online and start that process before they come down if they're interested? Does that help expedite things? Can you go to the website and do some advanced homework before you come down?
Yes, that is definitely an option. Our website has all of our current job postings on there if somebody would like to go on there and see what we have available right now. And they can complete the online application there. It's a really easy process once you've completed an application once to go in and apply for any other job you may be interested in. But we'll also have people here on site and computers set up so that anybody who hasn't done an application before can sit down and do one while they're here. And I would encourage people to bring a resume so they have all of that information that they're going to need to complete their application. It's a fairly quick process. And like I said, we'll have people on site to help walk people through and make sure that they get applications in for any of the positions that they're interested in.
As Katie mentioned, there's an acute shortage in special education paraeducators, but also just regular paraeducators. What does a regular paraeducator do as opposed to a special education paraeducator? What's the difference between those two?
So it's just different students that they work with. The paraeducators that work in general ed classrooms may pull students out to do intervention with reading, or they may be providing lunch and recess supervision.
You mentioned lunch, nutrition service associates. You need that.
We need a few of those. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Explain, is that a fancy word for saying working in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so those are our folks that keep the kids fed every day. They are doing, prep, cooking, serving. They are our staff that really make sure that all the kids are getting their meals every day.
And it doesn't eat up a great deal of time. You have a lot of free time during the course of the day. Even when you have, all of these jobs for the most part, it still involves some free time during the day.
Yeah, our nutrition services positions are probably the ones that have the biggest range of hours. We have 3-hour positions, 4-hour positions, 5-hour positions, 8-hour positions. So it can really vary based on what somebody's interested in.
Bus drivers, always, every year, every school year is a shortage of bus drivers. The Wenatchee School District has a big footprint. And every school, with the exception of I believe, Columbia, has bus routes. They go out and they're getting kids from the outskirts of their particular footprint of the school that they go to, and they got to get them to school. You always need those.
Yes, we always need bus drivers. We've had a lot of luck last year. We were almost fully staffed right there at the end of the year, and then we've had a little bit of turnover, of course. We're doing training for new classes of drivers every couple of months. So we are always looking to get people on board. They go through the training with us. It's paid to go through the training to become a bus driver, and then give them the opportunity to go on our substitute list and work. Again, like most of our other positions, there's work almost every day if they want to do it. And then we hire our ongoing continuing bus drivers out of our sub pool.
And there's also the fact that the bus drivers take the kids to extracurricular activities, soccer games and whatever. There's always that too. So
yeah, our drivers transport students all over the place, whether it's field trips, after school practices, sports games, any other event that we have going on.
Custodians, let's talk about that real quick. Full-time custodians and substitute custodians. You need those folks.
We do. We need our full-time custodians are 8 hours a day, year-round. They are our only job that is full-time, that doesn't have summers off. But we really need substitute custodians right now to fill in.
And no real job skill there, I suppose, right?
No, there's not a minimum requirement other than having a high school diploma and passing a background check. That's one thing for all of our positions. You have to have pass a background check to work in the school district.
I would pass that with flying colors, of course. Finally, before we cut you loose, I know you're busy. Substitute teachers, which isn't really on the list, but that's always a deal, right?
Yes, we're always looking for substitute teachers as well. And we have applications online if somebody's interested in being a substitute teacher and they have their teaching certificate or a specific skill set that may qualify them for an emergency cert. I would encourage people to go online and apply for those positions as well. They're another one that can work almost every day because we always have a need for substitutes. It
should be pointed out that, again, this event is Wednesday here in this very building, in this very room. It starts from 4:30, goes from 4:30 to 7. You say, I got kids. You know, the kids come over. I can't come down because I got to take care of my kids after school. You're going to have daycare here. You're going to have babysitters here, so they can segregate the kids and go, keep an eye on them while mom or dad does this thing, right?
Yeah, we're going to have a couple people on site to provide child care, so toys and coloring, things like that, to keep the kids entertained and give their parents an opportunity to speak with our administrators and directors about available positions, complete the application, and get all of their questions answered that they might have.
This might be, and Katie and I were talking about this off camera before we got set up. I know a lot of people who retired and they got bored or they at least wanted to do something. This is a good thing maybe for them. From bus driving to be a paraeducator, you don't have to work particularly hard. The hours aren't full-time and long, but you still get you're still out there and contributing to the community and making a little bit of money while at the same time not sitting at home watching Matlock all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity for people that are looking for a little something to do, whether they want to commit to being an ongoing employee in any of these positions or just want to substitute as they feel like it. One thing I would like to mention is that we have full benefits, medical, dental, vision, retirement for anybody that is contracted as a continuing employee for more than 3.5 hours a day.
And this might be the most important thing of all, and I've seen this. I have dozens and dozens of examples of this. People who come in and begin their career at the Wenatchee School, they don't think of it as a career. They say, I just want to work a little bit towards get some extra money, or I'm just out of high school or just out of college, and I don't. It turns into careers. It's, if it turns out you're pretty good at it and you like it, before you know it, you've got a career. It's happened many times.
Yeah, we have people that come in and they think, I'm going to just work as a substitute paraeducator for a little while. And then they get into it and they enjoy it. And then they end up going back to school and becoming teachers and stay with us for years.
Those are the kind of stories you like, isn't it? It really is.
Yes.
Again, it's from 4:30 to 7 o'clock here in this very building at the Wenatchee School District at their headquarters on Sunset Avenue. As Katie mentioned before, go online. We mentioned just jobs in general, but there's a lot of jobs, and they're all on the district's website, which, by the way, is very well done. I don't know who does it, but it's very well done. And you can also expedite the process for what's happening here Wednesday by going in and doing some of the initial homework and some of the forms. You can fill them out right there online. over the weekend or on today or Tuesday before you come down?
Yeah, they can go in and fill it out completely and apply for positions they're interested in. They can go online and start the application and then finish it up down here if they have any questions. We're also going to have staff on site to help with translating if needed. So we will have several Spanish-speaking staff members here.
And I'll leave you with this right now, Katie, while we're thinking about it, because I believe the school district, last I checked, is close to 50% Hispanic, maybe a little bit more student-wise. Is being bilingual going to help you a lot?
It's a huge advantage here.
Okay, huge advantage. Just a heads up on that. Katie Batson from Human Resources here at the Wenatchee School District. I hope it goes well. I hope you're overwhelmed with people. I hope you have to turn people away on Wednesday. Wouldn't that be a nice
That would be a great problem to have.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy day.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Don't make plans to store your boat for the off-season until you've checked out the Super Package from Bob File Boats and Motors. With this package, you just drop your boat off for winterizing, and they take it from there. When you pick it up in the spring, it'll be ready to go for the next season. There are too many features in the Super Package to list here, so get the details. 509-884-3558.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? And what would it be like? With today's home values, this is the perfect time to sell and make those dreams real. When you work with a world-class agent at Coldwell Banker, you benefit from trusted guidance and our revolutionary seller's assurance program to make your home sale more rewarding than ever. So it really is true. Your dreams don't have to be just dreams.
As the sun sets on another hot summer, let the experts at Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa winterize and close your pool. Closing your swimming pool is the most important service to get right. Letting the professionals from Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa close your pool will ensure that you won't cost yourself thousands of dollars in damage next year. Want to save a little money? Consider dropping the water level yourself and save. Don't wait. Blue Lagoon's pool closing schedule is filling up quickly. Call today.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a four-letter word.
I think we should hire more people.
Doc, I'm late for a meeting. I'm thinking of starting my own practice.
Do it. Too much capital.
We need a warehouse. I can't imagine how we do that.
We should knock that wall down and expand.
Do it. There's always another wall beyond the wall.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled out the new line of custom e-bikes. They have three-way adjustable folding e-bikes and full-size mountain e-bikes. Pedal assist and a throttle makes them a perfect fit for any rider. Green Motion e-bikes, located in the Mills Brothers building.
Hello, television family. Grab your cup of coffee each weekday morning and join me. I'm Dan Kuntz, the host of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's everything you need to start your day. We're live and we're local at 7 a.m. every weekday on the NCW Live channel. That's our Black Mountain camera high above Peshastin that you just saw. That camera is up above the smoke because in Peshastin, you're at 189 on the AQI scale. That's unhealthy. It's almost very unhealthy. But we get a break. The winds are coming. We got a cold front coming in from the Gulf of Alaska. It's going to work its way in gradually by mid to late afternoon. It's going to be downright windy. Let's take a look at the slide from the National Weather Service they sent our way. Winds will be coming pretty much right out of the west and blowing right to the east. Going to scour out the skies. It's going to make the clouds thicken up a little bit. And the best thing of all, it's going to make the air somewhat breathable. However, it's going to be extremely windy up on the Waterville Plateau and in the western part of the Columbia Basin. You're looking at some pretty strong winds. Sustained winds here in the Wenatchee Valley about 20 miles an hour. We can see gusts this afternoon and tonight between 35 and 40 miles an hour. That's the good news. Going to clear out the dirty air. The bad news is that the active fires above Lake Wenatchee are going to get more active. The winds will do that, and they are predicting that smoke conditions will return, and the air quality will go right back down again by the middle part of the week. Real quickly, we're looking at windy today. High just about 79 or so. Partly cloudy. Windy tonight, 44 for the overnight low. No wind on Tuesday. Cooler, 73. But remember, our normal high is only 65, so this warm trend continues. Smoke returns later on. That's it for us. Bye-bye.